Welcome to Cinegear 2022 at Los Angeles Convention Center. There are so many new cameras and cool filmmaking tech to see here. From virtual production with big cinema robot to augmented reality motion capture system. It is an exciting time to be a filmmaker. The highlight moment of mine this year is getting to play with the brand new Alexa 35, a 4.6K Super 35 digital camera by ARRI. If you are a filmmaker or camera person, you know ARRI makes the best cinema camera that Hollywood loves. We are so lucky to get Chase, the technical sales representative from ARRI, to give us a tour of this brand new masterpiece in great details, up close, in person. This is an 8K 3D VR 180 video, which means you can look all around and interact with the video. The best way to experience Alexa 35 up close in person in immersive 3D is to watch this video on your Meta Quest 2 or your favorite VR headset. So put on your VR headset, sit back, relax, and learn about Alexa 35 like the camera is right in front of you.
Well, welcome to Cinegear 2022. Today is Saturday, the last day of the show, and I'm excited to show you a little bit about the Alexa 35 camera system, our new camera we announced shortly before the show. My name's Chase and I work at ARRI. So here we have the Alexa 35 camera. It's a small body, as you can see, that weighs just 6.4 pounds, so only slightly bigger than the Mini LF and Alexa Mini cameras, but it incorporates all the features of the full-size Alexa and Mini cameras together in a single body. It has a brand new, all-new 4.6K sensor that's Super 35. In open gate, it's a 4.6K sensor that can sample up to 75 frames per second. In 4K, you can achieve 120 frames per second in uncompressed ARRI RAW, and that 4K is exact Super 35 in size. It's got built-in ND filters like the Mini LF and cameras before it. You've got the same viewfinder connector at the front, the same L-bus style connector here, but now we have two, not just on the mount but on the body, and a serial connector for attaching distance displays. The most and distance devices. Yeah.
How big the sensor size again?
So the total open gate area is 33.96 millimeters. In Super 35, it's 28.55 in that 4K area at 120 frames per second. In 4K, when you're not in open gate in Super 35, it is 28.55 millimeters. In open gate 4.6K, it is 33.96 millimeters diagonal. And it's an all-new sensor. It offers 17 stops of dynamic range, which is 2.5 stops more than any existing ARRI camera and the widest on the market available today. That's 1.5 stops in the highlights and a full stop in the shadows improvement. So in addition to being a high frame rate, high dynamic range sensor, we also have a new mode called ES, or Enhanced Sensitivity, that's available at exposure index 2560 or higher. So when you hit 2560 or higher, you have an optional ability to turn on this enhanced sensitivity. And what that does is it takes the frame in between the exposures, the black frame as the sensor sampling for your shutter and frame rate to get that 180-degree shutter, and it takes that black frame in between and uses it to actually reduce the amount of noise in the next live frame. So it's actually in camera live, real time, and you can do it up to 60 frames per second or 180-degree shutter. Anything wider than 180-degree shutter, you don't use ES, but you can go narrower than 100-degree shutter and still use the ES mode. So it's optional. Another feature with the camera and the new sensor is textures. So textures is like having a digital film lab built into your camera. And it's super exciting because you have the default ARRI texture, which all ARRI cameras have always had. You just never really realized that we programmed that default texture, that default look. Textures allow you to have different characteristics when it comes to noise and grain, micro contrast or fine detail, and then coarse detail or macro contrast in the image, for example. So those three numbers that you see in our textures actually refer to all those parameters. Again, the first number is grain and noise, The second number is micro contrast or micro detail. The third number is macro contrast or coarse detail. So you look at it and the default one is 4, 4, 5. So kind of right down the middle out of 10. But Nostalgic, for example, has a 7 for grain, a 3 for micro contrast or fine detail, and a 3 for your macro contrast or coarse detail. And that creates more of a filmic look with more grain in the image. So these textures, there's 9 available at the camera launch. And again, if you don't want to play around with them, you can just leave it in the default. The camera will look good out of the box, but those textures are baked in, whether you're shooting ARRI RAW or ProRes. And we do that intentionally because we want to make sure that we're giving creative control back to cinematographers. We've been told many times over the years during the development of the camera that cinematographers feel like they're losing control of their images in post-production. So, based on their feedback, we decided to make textures part of the image processing pipeline from day one. So textures allow you as a cinematographer, the creative, to bake in the desired look as the sensor is making those images, which is fantastic. So that's a really big part of what we allow for creative control being given back to the cinematographer and to the creative. And the hand sensitivity mode, by the way, is also part of the ARRI RAW or the ProRes. The next part of the camera has to do with the sensor and the color processing, and it's called the Reveal Color Science. And that's our brand new color science built from the ground up. It's designed to provide better, more accurate colors across the entire spectrum, including brightly saturated colors like neons, or for example, bright red brake lights. You can see amazing color rendition that you've never seen before. Subtle details, fine details that you've never seen in the shades and gradations on a digital camera. So we really worked hard to improve the color tracking at overexposure and underexposure, including the accuracy of skin tones when they're severely overexposed or underexposed. So that all comes together as part of the Reveal Color Science. Another thing that's part of Reveal is the way that we add looks to the camera. So when we added looks to the camera before, we used to define the output display transform space. So you loaded a look for Rec 709, it was a Rec 709 look. You couldn't just turn it into HDR, you had to get another look and load it back into the camera. Now with Reveal, your look is your creative intent, but the camera will do the scaling output. You can select, I want SDI1 to be Rec 709 with my look, and then your SDI2 can be HDR, PQ, or HLG with the same look. So the look contains no output display transform, so that allows you to move the creative intent beyond just what display output space you're going with. So that's a much more powerful color architecture in here. And because we have 17 stops of dynamic range, we have a new log C curve called log C4 to accommodate that dynamic range, and a new ARRI wide color gamut 4 that allows for less imaginary colors. It's still a big color gamut, bigger than Rec 2020, but it's all in the visible gamut for the most part. With the older color gamut, we had a lot of color, but a lot of it was beyond the human visible spectrum. So sometimes there were errors transforming it into the visible spectrum so our eyes could see it, like brightly saturated blues. So it was difficult to work with ACES sometimes when you had those brightly saturated colors. Now with the new color science and Reveal, it's much easier to work with ACES APO 0.
Nice. Now can I have you to build the camera and just run it through like what is on the table?
Sure.
Like,
so
how easy to build for
well, that's a test, all right, you know?
Yeah.
So let's do it. I can do it. I can almost do it in my sleep at this point. So we have here on the table almost all the accessories, I should say, for the camera. We have the lightweight set, and we also have the production set. So we're selling the camera with these two sets. You have your production set that's designed for bigger shoots where you need studio rods, for example, 15 or 19 millimeter studio rods, and you want a more robust top handle, more adjustability with the viewfinder, and that's the production set. So that has this kind of base plate here. This base plate has 15 and 19 millimeter options with 15 millimeter lightweight that's always there. Shoulder plaid that goes right still onto the dovetail, and you can slide it on or off, or you can use our new quick release that we introduced with the Mini LF that comes right off the dovetail. So this is our compact bridge plate, and it's part of the production set. This is the top of the production set. It's actually the top handle and two separate plates that you can remove. So if you don't want this extra horseshoe and you don't need all these mounting points, you can remove this and use just the front portion. The new top handle for the production set is completely toolless and quick removable. So this is a big innovation here. We can now remove that, which is really quick and easy. Then here we have our new viewfinder bracket. So we had feedback with customers with the older viewfinder bracket where they loosened it and it would smack them in the face because it was round. Now we have here a square viewfinder bracket that allows for the same adjustability, but when you loosen it, it doesn't swing backwards. So here we also have a new articulating viewfinder bracket called VMB5, which allows for a lot more movability and flexibility and getting wherever you're going to need with this fantastic bracket. So this is all part of the production set. Production set also includes, for example, this articulated rear mounting plate. When you put that top plate on, you're gonna have this back here that you can take on or off with no tool, and this would allow you here to be able to adjust that So you can have a mounted, let's say, Teradek or wireless video system, for example, and you can still get to the ports. So the production set's very comprehensive. You also get in the production set the PDM1. This is one of our 2 modules. So this is the power distribution module 1. It goes onto the back of the camera. You just pull the battery plate off here with 4 screws, put it in here, 3 screws, and you're done. It's on the back. You got here 4 of the 24-volt 3-pin Fisher RS connectors, 2 2-pin LEMO connectors, 12 volt, and then a D-tap on the bottom that's also 12 volt, and it's reversible like the Bebop style that they introduced a couple of years ago. So that's really flexible. We also offer an audio module, so you can use one or the other, not both at the same time. And then you can see here, it's a Sonosax audio module made in Switzerland. They're a very high-end audio company. And this module here has your 2 connectors here, or 3 connectors that are all TA3. The first 2 connectors are for microphone or line level with phantom power for both. And then you also have AES digital audio in and 2 power connectors, 1 3-pin, 1 2-pin, so 24 and 12, and a headphone jack. So you can use this module that has its own dedicated audio menu if you're going to do single system recording. On the camera body, you still have the ARRI connector here for the white radio for our wireless lens control with the Hi5 and WCU, RS connector for 3-pin 24 volt, 2-pin connector for a LEMO 12 volt. Then you have your same 6-pin audio connector for an audio box as a mini LF. Same Ethernet, same power connector. Back here, you've got your 5-pin LEMO for timecode. Second viewfinder connector if you want to mount the viewfinder in the back of the camera. You don't have to come to the front. Wi-Fi antennas. And then you have 2 totally independent 12G HD SDI outputs for 4K 60p. Each one can have its own look. In a sense, you can have HDR and SDR out of one. Both 4K 60 and independent completely. So you can have your own frame line, status information, false color, focus peaking separately out of each one. One can be HDR, one can be SDR, and the viewfinder is totally separate as well. So very flexible monitoring we're bringing from the big full-size Alexa LF and SXT cameras in a small body for the first time. Now, one thing to do all this amazing things, and in terms of internally in the camera with such a small body and make it more efficient to be cooled, even in the most extreme environments, we did need to move to 24 volts to accommodate that processing power and that heat management. So 24 volts, we were working with our friends at Bebop many years ago, actually about 2.5 years ago, to develop the B-mount. And the B-mount is a great solution for 24 volt power for onboard batteries. It's an open free standard, so all the major battery manufacturers, so we have our friends at Bebop, they have that stackable version here. We have our friends at Hawk Woods in the UK, they've got a B-mount battery as well. They're all offering multiple batteries and sizes. We even have one from our friends at Core here. They're gonna have 2 different sizes. We're gonna have one from Swit, nice big 290 watt hour battery. Those are a Chinese brand there. And then we also even have our friends at Anton Bauer, and they will also be making B-mount batteries. So super flexible system, designed with 96 accessories at launch, including lightweight shoulder pads, stabilizer adapter plates for your Trinity, your Maxima, your ARRI remote head, or even third-party products like a Tiffin or ProRig, Movi or Ronin.
You build that thing live right now and see like
I can, sure.
the small rig?
Yeah. Well, the question is really, how do you want me to build it? What configuration?
The handheld version, like
Lightweight setup. Okay. Yep, absolutely. I'm going to take all these batteries out of the way then.
So I pre-ordered the production one.
Yep.
Is it possible to swap out with you?
No, you have to add that additionally. We will not change the predetermined sets. Yeah. So just add that on there. I'm going to do that to make it safe. So lightweight setup is going to involve this base plate for now. It's got 15mm lightweight rods and this quick touch and go system for your O'Connor Euro plate style system to clip that in. So we're going to do that. Then the lightweight set does include the side bracket here. So we've got this that's going over here. It's all the same Metric 3 tool that you would use on your existing ARRI camera. Pretty generic. Side brackets go right to the body, as you noticed, because the body is load bearing now. It's not like the Mini where the cage took all the load of the accessories. The camera is more rigid, and so that allows us to mount stuff directly to the camera. You've of course got a rosette there. All right, so for the lightweight top plate, we're gonna go with this one, like so. So you could mount the top handle right to the camera if you did want to, It kind of depends on what you want to do. I kind of leave this one on there because, you know, I like the ability with this plate in between to add the horseshoe on the back if I need it. If I don't put this plate, I can't put the horseshoe piece back here that's connected. I could unscrew 2 of these and put this on the back if I want to. So I like to do this. You don't have to, you can go right to the body if you want, but if I put this on, the nice thing about this is it is a toolless top handle, which is nice. You don't have to worry. You can put a tool through there if you want to. It's still a metric 3. It's got it in there, but I really like the fact that it's just essentially 4 screws that you can do with your thumbs. It's not difficult. And then the choice is, let's say for example, I don't want just lightweight rods at the bottom, I want lightweight rods at the top. I can actually connect this console here, which is for lightweight rods, like so, and this will use 2 metric 3 keys if I want. I don't have to. Someone's flipped this top handle around, so what I can also do if I want to, instead of having to pull it out all the way, I can actually even flip the top handle, because it goes either way, which I actually really like. Simply loosen this like so. I'm going to move this more toward the middle, pull this guy off, and then just flip it around, because at the front of the handle is the mounting points for the way that the viewfinder attaches when you're using the lightweight set. So the viewfinder attaches there. This, by the way, balance harness adapter is for a quick release, let's say on your easy rig, for example. So if we go here, like so, that's a little bit better. That's, you know, let me put my viewfinder up here. So again, this is the lightweight build. If we were using this production build, we would use the different top plate instead. That's a little beefier, and then that top plate would allow us to use the production handle, which is the beefier quick release handle here that goes onto this plate. So that's the production top. Now, what we can do is we're going to attach the viewfinder mounting bracket, RMB3, and so this is going to go right to the front. It's a little hard to do when you can't see it, but I'll endeavor to do my best. So right here, we've got the lightweight top handle, and that lightweight top handle with the lightweight set is designed to mount the viewfinder with this RMB3 bracket. So if I attach the viewfinder like so to the top handle, and again, if I didn't like this is the lightweight set, but if I didn't like this, I could also purchase, for example, the original mini viewfinder bracket, and I could attach this using the lightweight console here, like so, and I could go back to the old style of mounting the viewfinder. But let's say, for example, I do like the lightweight top handle, and I might have an easy rig mounted here, for example, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down here. So this is becoming part of my viewfinder bracket, like I was saying. Then you can go here, loosen this, just like you would a normal ARRI viewfinder, and somebody hasn't cranked it down like that. Jesus, that's not coming off. Well, that's what you would loosen to then attach the viewfinder. I don't know who used that last, but that's gonna require some grease. But essentially the viewfinder would attach like so. Then you would cable the viewfinder in with the same viewfinder connector as the mini LF, but I can't for the life of me, without completely killing my hand, do that. There we go.
Okay. Awesome.
I don't have a viewfinder cable with me for obvious reasons, but essentially you need the viewfinder cable, and that would be pretty close to the lightweight set.
Nice. So for the big build, what other thing you got put on it?
Well, you take most of it apart. So it's not, yeah. So this plate would go on the bottom with the dovetail. Then you would replace this top plate with the other top plate here. Then you would use the top handle, that's this one here, and connect to the viewfinder here. It's not designed to switch, I guess, like during production, like instantly, like maybe per day. One day you might want lightweight, one day you would want production. But I mean, the base plate is the easiest to change, obviously. That just slides right off. So if you were taking this off like so, then you could put you needed to go maybe for a bigger lens, you still had the lightweight at the top, you could put the studio base plate on for 15 or 19 like that, lock that on, take the standard dovetail.
Like the Mini had the like brackets that went alongside the top, so you had to take apart the whole cage?
No, you don't have to, exactly. It's these that are here on the side. So that's more production-ish, but that's not the production top plate. So the camera, we've been taking orders since June 1st for the camera. You can order it through ARRI directly in the US, or you can order through one of our dealers. The price of the lightweight set for the camera, the viewfinder, and the lightweight accessories is $75,000 US. The production set with the more accessories, that is $77,940 US. And both those don't include media, but we do have media packs available, like let's say 3 2-terabyte drives and the dock reader for about $13,100 US. So that's a good starting point. and the camera will start to ship in July. If you go to ARRI.com and you click on the Alexa 35 page under camera systems, at the top right corner you'll get a button that you can click on that says tell me more about it, and then you can actually fill in some information to reach out for a quote, for a demo, or to place an order.
Thank you for watching this in-depth hands-on build of the ARRI Alexa 35 cinema camera. We will hopefully get our hands on the Alexa 35 soon for more in-depth testing and tutorial on how to build a 360 or even VR camera rig with Alexa 35. If you have not already, check out my result of the 6K immersive 360 camera build using Alexa Mini LF and the Antenna How 220p lens. The result is jaw-dropping visual in even 6K. With open gate 4:3 ratio, slightly larger resolution, and way better dynamic range and color science, we can't wait to see the 360 results inside Meta Quest 2 shot with the ARRI Alexa 35. So don't forget to subscribe for that video and more high-end filmmaking tools, reviews, and tutorials. I will see you in the VR Metaverse next time.